Mike King. So Mike King came out on The Rock radio show, and he just came on as a guest, and he was talking about his Gumboot Friday, which is today. It's today, right?
Yeah.
Gumboot Friday is today. And he was speaking about how the system sort of has left behind services to help kids with mental health. And, I'm glad that Gio's here. Cause
Oh, nah. Someone who works in the system. Fuck.
Yeah, I don't.
But it was pretty it was a pretty interesting interview because he actually broke down on The Rock, and he actually cried because of this, the stress he's been having trying to do this Gumboot Friday and the frustration he's had with the system not helping out and stuff like that. So he's put it all on his shoulders to do it on his own, and he spoke about it on The Rock. So you guys saw the video?
Yeah.
I saw it on my way here. Actually, I saw it before I came in. That's why I was a bit late. Because I haven't actually watched the interview. I heard about it on social media, so thought I'll check it out.
But did he lose one of his kids, or was it his wife? Or because what's his push behind doing all this?
I think he had
depression.
He had depression, yeah.
But did he lose one of his kids to suicide?
I don't know.
Someone at work was saying that's where that came from. I'm not too sure.
Didn't make sense though, huh? Why he's so probably so
Passionate.
emotional? Yeah. So dedicated to it.
Because they even on The Rock, they let him say the F word how many times? Usually they just like, hey, easy, but they just let him go.
Yeah, I heard that he had depression and he got out of it. And as far as I know, like he's always been into the mental health kind of space and trying to help out. And I think it was because of his experience, being depressed and coming out of it and trying to help out. But I've heard about Gumboot Friday before, and I think it was last year or a couple of years. Like
there was the laps around the Auckland Domain, and for every lap there was how many? It was for I think it was like 600. Said the number was 636. That's how many people had committed suicide, and that's how many laps they were aiming for within 24 hours or something like that. Is
that the one here now?
No, that was the last Gumboot Friday that they done. Because I remember last year, would have been the year before, there was coverage of it on TV, and so for him to go on The Rock, he's not getting any coverage. So everyone's sort of like, I think all the TVNZ and all those radio stations, media works all tied in together, aren't giving him that light anymore. So that's why he's jumped on The Rock and said it, because they've given him that window to do it on the platform. So
NZME, I think MediaWorks is The Rock, is it?
I think MediaWorks is an umbrella, kind of has it all. I think everything's under MediaWorks, isn't it?
But there's two big ones. There's MediaWorks and the rivals, whatever the rival was. I think it's NZME. Or
so even on
and then you got the government one, which is
the AM show this morning. There was another guy talking about his own experiences. I think he was like a police commissioner or someone in the police, talking about his mental health sort of like programs that he puts out in the community. So that's where it's gone. A guy who got an award. Now he came on Celebrity Treasure Island for his own charity, and then ended up on The Rock, which was a couple of days ago. But he went back on today.
The update. I saw
the
that.
Update, yeah.
The update. And I think they made 300,000 after his first interview. Yeah. I think 300,000 came in. They were looking for 5 million. That was the goal.
But to be honest, because like I've told you there, like I got two mates that work in mental health. One works for what I meant DHB, and the other one works in the high care unit over in North Shore. But after seeing Mike break down like that, like just for myself, it's like, man, he really is trying, and like you can't fail or you can't hate on someone who's like genuine passion about trying to do good for this world, especially for the kids.
Because he was getting hate, I remember.
Yeah.
When he first started doing all this stuff, because people were saying, "Oh, he's gonna keep the money" or something like that.
Well, people were saying,
so
why
bad,
are we paying taxes? When the big budget sort of moved a lot of that.
Yeah, because people, I think the public didn't believe that the government didn't have these services available, and they're looking at Mike King. And, why are you doing this for? Already got services for that. Why are you doing your own for?
The point Michael was making, and he made a very good point, is the waiting times. Hey, that was something that he preached, and he's absolutely right. Like fucking 18-month waiting list just to see someone where you may or may not actually qualify to go into services. You know, it is crazy, man. I tell you what, it is crazy at the moment. Like, I'm a person who works in the system, right? And what Mike is describing is exactly what's happening at the moment, and we don't know what to do about it either. You know, we just get referrals after referrals after referrals. There's only so much, resources that we have, and it's, we can't even cope with that. So I can only imagine Mike, who's has a much more smaller budget, and he's only focusing on one aspect. He's focusing on children, let alone adult mental health, older adult mental health, and all the stuff in between. So fuck, man. And the weird thing is, you remember when Labour just got into government and they announced their big budget for mental health. There's the biggest budget we've ever allocated to mental health. And I've said this before on a previous podcast, that I have not fucking seen one fucking thing that's changed since that budget's come through. Literally, jack fucking shit.
And
no more stuff.
As shady as the freaking government is, they could allocate like freaking $28 billion into that sector and fucking make it so hard to fucking get a coin or even a dollar from their budget just to help filter through, because they're gonna make a whole fucking questionnaire of how many things you need to be on that list just to be eligible for any sort of help, which is fucked, eh?
There was another budget thing, but this is going way away from the subject. But there was another budget. I think it was for security for shops and that, and they had a $6 million budget, but none of the shops saw that either.
Is that for the pollards outside the front?
Yeah. They gave some to some of the retailers, but not everybody received it.
Well, see, a lot of people, like the guy who wasted his shoes, said that he ended up forking out of his own pocket,
Yeah,
and keeping the receipts with the hope that fucking they'll reimburse him for doing the work himself.
The problem with that, the government announced they're going to give some money to help these stores put bollards in security for the ram raiders, but it hasn't. They've allocated it, they've announced it, but nothing's happened.
No.
And these shops are still waiting for that to come through.
Is it just me, or has the ram raids kind of calmed down a bit?
Yeah, it has, but
slightly,
but it's getting more. But they're more in broad daylight. I saw on social media,
Right.
this lady's car at a hospital. She was filming
That's
the whole
right.
thing.
I did see that. It was Middlemore, right?
Yeah.
Was that Middlemore?
She was just filming the whole thing while the guy was like
Breaking into the car.
and then just lay about.
That's
Like,
fucking
going
ridiculous.
off.
And this is in a hospital. you
Yeah,
know, where there's
broad
fucking
daylight.
barrier arms. There should be a fuck ton of security at hospitals too.
How many cars passed him too, and they didn't even see anything?
Because everyone's busy looking for a car park.
Yeah,
I'll see that we're just talking about how much lacking
the government.
the government's been offering the public to help out with these kind of things, right? And you wonder why. You can tell why people are screaming out for help, and it feels like nothing's getting done. I mean, if Mike King has to do all this to go off the back of the lack of resources, the government can issue their services.
See, this is the problem. I don't think the government can fix it though. You have to remember, Mike King. A lot of love to Mike King, but he's not the only person calling out for money. There's a lot of different non-governmental organizations out there that are desperate for money too. I mean, Mike King has has been fighting the good fight for such a long time. He's been doing it for such a long time. I only realized recently that he used to be a comedian. I've only known him as the mental health advocate.
Oh, true.
That's how I got to know him.
No, I knew him as the comedian. Then I found out he was in the mental health.
So look, I think people love to try to simplify it a lot, thinking money is going to fix everything. But I think we have a way deeper problem, mate, like a community problem. There's a poverty problem. There's a lot of things that intertwine that actually lead. The end result is that, which is what Mike King is trying to fight against. But there's a lot of other stuff as well that that has need. You know what I mean?
Especially with youth and like children, like
100%.
identity, freaking them just being so fixated on their devices. There's so much more to it than just just saying the Mike King stuff.
Yeah, I'm having a problem trying to keep my daughter off her device lately, and I've noticed that she's gotten worse. Like, she's spending hours on it, and I'm saying, nah, after 6, turn that shit off. don't care what it is, turn it off. Because they go watch some TV with grandpa or grandma. That's about it. But no more tablet because they're just watching some bullshit ass cartoon screaming some rubbish. It's like, what the hell is this shit?
And the fucked up thing is like, when the vaccine, all that bullshit came out, and then all the conspiracy theories were coming out, and the people screaming, the fucking kids are gonna suffer. They've been right this whole time, man. Like,
Man,
it's not gonna get better.
Just listen to you guys. Like, yeah, you're right. It's not just that problem with what my king's trying out. There's heaps. Hey,
Yeah.
there's all right across the board. And now, the best thing the government should do now, if they want to handle all this, is to prioritize. Prioritize all these problems, attack them from the top down.
Yeah, but government's only looking to the next election cycle, so it's whatever's popular at the
Yeah.
time. And unfortunately, and this is the truth, there's not a lot of media coverage of children's mental health. I mean, when's the last time you've
there's
seen
hardly
something
anything.
in nothing? So why would they highlight that in their political gain? For political gain, when they're probably not going to get anything out of it. That's what I think.
Like the Rock did a follow up. Did a follow up to the Mike King interview, and they were saying exactly that. They were saying, like if you look on TV, you see drunk driving, don't drink and drive ads, but they're looking at the stats and said, man, there's more deaths with kids with mental health than
Drink driving.
drink driving. So why we got these ads still playing on TV?
Because it's not a good look for them. I mean, anybody in government is going to be like, fuck, I don't want that stat while I'm in power. Like, imagine being the government is like, oh, yeah, when we were in power, we had the highest rates of suicide and child death. Yeah, that's our legacy. Like, they're not gonna claim that shit.
I tell you what, ads been fucking coming on 24/7, almost like every second. Fucking corrections. Like, you want to career, jump on corrections.
You want
It's
to
like,
corrections?
it's almost to the point like when it comes on, it's like, is this another correction? Fucking it's a corrections ad. Hey, the fuck, where are they getting their money from me?
Fuck, how is that supposed to help with
Surely
the
it's the
problem?
triad washing their money through their fucking shit to get fucking TV commercials, man. It's like,
It should be aimed at the root of the problem, not adding more
Fuck
stuff
hard.
to...
I think those ads start popping up when that news of that officer got stabbed in the jail, the correction officer.
oh yeah.
Wait, did someone get stabbed in jail?
One of the corrections officers got stabbed.
Was that a while ago, though, eh?
Yeah, a few months ago.
Damn. Nah, it's a tough one, Because I like I said, I really feel for my king, and it must be such a massive fucking struggle for him to try and I'm sure he's got great ideas, and and the stats back from the money that he has, the amount of the effectiveness that he's done so far must be really good. That's why he believes in it.
Yeah.
And then just to watch him, like seeing a grown man cry, like I feel very uncomfortable when people cry. Like,
yeah.
Yes.
but watching it yesterday, I was like, fuck, nah, this is, and just, you can just tell, like, he's so committed. Like, you would not have a breakdown like that if you were just doing it for like the likes and shit like that,
No.
So like, the solution, fuck. I don't know if more money's going to do it, because I think you're just going to need more and more money every, with the population growth and, with things not slowing down. But fuck.
But just The Rock letting them
Yeah.
do that, eh? In that space.
I think that's
And,
important. Yeah.
it's like, fuck, it's out there now.
Yeah.
What was the last time we saw Mike King, something like that on social media? That was probably, 2 years ago?
Yeah, it was the one
Pre-COVID.
he's recording in his car. And
Car,
he goes,
yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Oh, that's
like,
right.
Yeah.
That was
And
pre-COVID
he got
too.
shit,
Like,
eh?
yeah.
And he was right about it then too, man. All these lockdowns, these lockdowns aren't doing anyone any favors.
Nah.
Especially us, especially the kids.
Maybe he needs to move away from government funding and look for some private funding. I don't know if
Yeah.
he's doing that at the moment, but
Stuff asking the government.
I know one thing they've been calling for on the radio, but it's not to do with more people for mental health, was open the borders up to the workforce. Get more nurses and get more. I think they're talking about some industry that needed more people, but the borders were still closed.
the
For them.
bullshit thing about that, New Zealand turns out a fuck ton of nurses, a fuck ton of nurses. They don't want to fucking work here. So before we fucking start reaching out to the UK and Australia and shit, which we can't actually compete with these guys, by the way.
Yeah, they'll probably get paid
There's
more.
a reason why everyone's flocking over to fucking Australia, because they get fucking paid for the work that they do.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are we talking about, we need to bring more people, We've got people here. We've fucking develop a program, fucking do something to attract people to fucking stay here in New Zealand. You know, what the fuck?
Even teachers, they get
Teachers,
fucking-
yeah. All these public servants that are just flocking overseas and fucking taking the skills there. And then we're fucking here holding our dicks like a bunch of fucking idiots, wondering where the fuck did we go wrong? It's ridiculous. It honestly is. Because I heard that too on the radio. It's like, oh, we're trying to increase, the number of people from the UK to, nurses and doctors and things like that. Does New Zealand not have multiple nursing schools? Does New Zealand not turn out a fuck ton of doctors per year? Where the fuck are they going? That's something on us, actually. That's something that the government needs to be looking at more stronger than actually importing labor. Like, we've got the fucking labor here.
True.
It's obvious that mental health of the kids, like it's sort of like getting swept under the carpet. And the other one that is getting swept under the carpet too is the kids that need discipline, in schools and that. Because now we've got, I think it comes down to, this is another conversation, but like after the no smacking law, I think when they try to discipline kids these days, it's not really working. Especially when you got kids that are those P kids.
Yeah,
I
know it's ridiculous.
But there's heaps of them, eh?
Yeah. Well, look, I grew up in Tonga, so I got my ass kicked from the first day I went to school to the very fucking last day I left school. So
Shit.
that's all I know,
Yeah.
And I turned out all right, I think.
Yeah, but I think you've got like a whole lot of kids who are under this, in that category, like troubled kids, that there's no place for them anymore, and they can only put them in the normal circulation,
Yeah.
and who falls down is the other kids. Oh.
Look, it's like everything in life. It's more complicated than a particular issue. It's not usually one issue. You look at the kids who are acting up in school and skipping, using drugs and shit. Usually their home life is not stable. Either one parent household or no parent household, or they come from a very traumatic background and things like that. So it's as much as we'd like to, because when the shit hits the media, right? It's always the end product. It's always this person in school. But it's like the shit's happened prior to this kid. There's a lot of shit that happened. Whether it's his community or his home life, but there's a lot of stuff that's happened which has led him down this particular pathway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't think there's enough focus on the root cause of everything, right? It's always just, we're just putting out this fire. It's the ambulance at the bottom of the hill kind of analogy, right?
Yeah.
But we're always waiting for the problem to occur because you can almost fucking time it. It's like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen now. All right, jail for you. But it's like, well, we know that there's plenty of fucking research and a lot of conversations and things behind, what leads people to sort of acting in a certain way, or what leads people to have bad health, or leads people to sort of develop mental health issues. It's all the childhood and upbringing. So that's why I think Mike's work is actually very powerful in that sense, because he's aiming for the root cause. Because if you can manage the issues that children have and get them in a better space, then their trajectory could drastically change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And plus, it's important that he is speaking out, because now that the government is overwhelmed, and they've got, and then these services are lacking now. Oh.
We've always been overwhelmed. I think that's the issue, right? It's like we're always overwhelmed, but what COVID taught me is that if the fucking government wants to do it, they can fucking do it. All this money fucking came out of nowhere, and then now we can do this. Oh, we've got fucking locums we can fucking hire all the time. Oh, we can do So if you want to do it, you can do it, but it's like at that point, it's like I don't even think they gave two shits about budget, Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
they didn't give a shit.
And I heard on Joe Rogan that one of his episodes was like, man, yeah, they've got the power. Hey, are they all about health? Take the vaccine. Well, why don't they just stop all fast foods?
Yeah.
They got the power.
Tax, brother, tax. Where else are they getting the tax from? Fucking fast food places. Yeah, but I don't know. What do you guys think? I've moved here to New Zealand in like 2008, I think, for my final year of high school, and I haven't really, and then when I'm old enough to fucking notice what's going on in my community, there hasn't really been a massive positive change in it. But you guys have been here for like years. What would you guys rate? Let's talk about West Auckland as a good example.
It's getting worse. Yeah, it's getting worse. The mental health thing is getting a lot worse.
Because you can actually see it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
actually see it.
You can see it because we never saw it before.
Nah, we didn't know what it
Like
was.
literally on the streets, you never saw anything.
Some of our usos are turned out that way too. I seen one of a guy we used to know.
Yeah, I just
I
edit that
know him
out.
as well.
Yeah, you know him
I
as
know
well.
him as well.
Yeah, because he's always up on Lincoln Road.
Yeah, I'll just edit that out. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, the guy I was talking about, yeah, because I see him a lot, and
Yeah. You know him really well?
I knew him
From
before.
back in the day.
And
Yeah,
to who he is
we're
now.
in school from.
Funny stories. Like when I was still a student, he was one of my first guys that I picked up when I graduated in the community.
Oh,
Yeah, I could love that guy. Yeah, he's really out there. Eh? Like I swear we would spend like at least an hour. I'm only supposed to be there for like 30 minutes because I've got like so many people I would still for an hour, and he'd just go off on this like archangels and stuff, and I'm just like, that's actually pretty interesting. Actually, okay, yeah. And then he starts talking about and I call up these what are they called? When you call up and you get your fortune tellers, we actually pay people to get. Yeah, and this lady told me I'm a descendant of this angel and stuff. It's like, this sounds like a movie. I just fucking taking notes here. Yeah, you can control the weather. Can you make it sunny tomorrow as well? No, but I love him. Mate. He's a good dude. He's a really big guy, but he's actually quite a soft dude as well.
No, you can tell. Like,
Very nice.
I think it comes with experience, but sometimes you can tell which one are pretty cool and which ones you got to back off from.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, this is ones where fuck, just go, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go, else I'll run you over.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. I think we can see it now. But it's not just West Auckland's everywhere.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
yeah.
happening everywhere.
Yeah, so the other question is, do you think you're noticing it more, or do you think just because you're more aware, because mental health seems to be a little bit more talked about openly these days amongst people, amongst friends and stuff like that. Do you think it's because of that, or do you reckon there's just more people out there that's just out of it?
Because I even like within my family and stuff, there's little young ones, like my younger cousins and that, they're even showing signs of where before my other cousins and that, like us growing up, we didn't really do it. No, we didn't show any signs of things like what my younger cousins are going through. And one of my cousins, because she's got quite a few kids, and the fight she's been through with her own kids, it's just next level shit.
That's why I believe you
crazy.
should beat your kids.
But you know how you said like your age group, our age group, we didn't talk about it. But the younger ones, you can see it more. Is it because everyone's talking about it now? That they're just more open these days?
I don't know, because I think back in the way we were taught, don't worry about it, just carry on. You just think he's stupid. That's how our parents brought us up. But now it's not working anymore.
Well, I think it's like the one good thing I can see is that they're normalizing it. It's becoming a normal conversation to have with people.
Yeah.
And I think that's why we see it probably a little bit, it's more evident to us, is because people are not trying to sort of just hide it, sweep it under the rug and stuff like that. It's like, oh no, the shame, which is still there. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of shame and stigma around people having mental health issues, especially within the Pacific community. But I feel like that's probably, I would say probably if we had to finish this segment on a positive note, I think we're talking about it a lot more open. I mean, look at what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Trying to talk about it, and the normalization of it is probably a good thing, because if people, who are going through something and notice that, other people go through similar things as me, they'll be a little bit more open to sort of reaching out for help, especially when they hear that maybe, this guy actually went through therapy and came out really good, recovered. Maybe it'll work for me. So
Yeah, because I do know someone like that, and it's hard for him to reach out and try and talk about it. But even talking it to with his own parents is really hard because they don't understand their part. But it's good that he's found some kind of support groups and a little bit of tools and that to help him out. So he's getting there.